Welcome to Employee Termination Tips. My name's Christopher Neufeld of Neufeld Legal. And in this video, we're going to be talking about what you should be doing in the first 48 hours after being fired from your job. But before we even tackle this, what we should do is take a sheet of paper and identify those items that you should be putting off for 48 hours, or at least until you accomplish the first set of steps that we're talking about in this video in the first 48 hours. And the reason we're going to put these items off is because by doing these subsequent actions, you're actually going to create a false sense of accomplishment, distracting you from the primary focus that you should be on, and thereby impact your ability to deal with your immediate post-employment situation and getting closure with respect to your current employment and getting all the earnings you require. So what we suggest is you get a sheet of paper, list out all these items for subsequently dealing with after you've accomplished the first 48 hours work, and put this into the post 48 hours work. And what we're talking about is starting to look for a new job, getting your resume fixed up, connecting with your references, cleaning up your LinkedIn profile, updating your LinkedIn profile, talking to people, going through all the emotional challenges that come with losing one's job. These items you need to push back for at least 48 hours, or at least until you've done the initial work that we're going to talk about. And what is this initial work that you should be doing? The initial work that you need to be doing in the first 48 hours, and you got to be focusing your attention on, is on your post-employment matters, dealing with the job you just got terminated from, and making sure that you step away from it, you get everything that you required. And this is about the earnings that you are due, not simply your termination and severance pay, but also all the earnings that you worked for with that previous employer of yours. So what you got to be doing is you got to be collecting all your pay statements, your employment contracts, your pension papers, and then you have to be looking at them and assessing them, hopefully with knowledgeable legal counsel, because in employment situations, it's always advisable to talk to a knowledgeable employment lawyer. And given the fact that in a lot of these cases where there is something of substance, whether it's with respect to your termination severance pay package or to unearned and unfulfilled earnings that are due to yourself, employment lawyers are willing to talk to yourself and determine whether or not there is a case to be pursued. And you might need to talk to more than one lawyer. But you have to collect the materials. Where necessary, you have to request them from your former boss as soon as possible. And you have to ask for them, because very often in employment legislation, there is a requirement, even when you get terminated, for your former employer to provide you with this kind of financial documentation, earnings documentation, pension documentation, so you might make the right decision with respect to whether or not you sign their releases, you accept their termination severance pay packages, or you negotiate for something more. So what you need to be doing is collecting that material, having it analyzed with a knowledgeable employment lawyer, and making that determination. Because you've got a very short time window with which to operate and take the initial steps and determine whether or not you're going to move forward in one direction or the other, accept their package, accept their terms of your former boss, or challenge them. And this needs to be done promptly. And if there is something there, you can then push it off to the lawyer and then proceed with the subsequent activities you need to do. cleaning up your resume, searching for a new job, getting in touch with your references, getting your employment insurance in place, going through the emotional trauma that is associated with losing one's job. But these are not matters that really should be done first and foremost, because as I've said, they act as distractions. And when you're doing stuff in that sense, you feel like you're accomplishing something. You're moving forward. But instead of moving forward, you're skipping important steps that need to be done now. And that is dealing with your past employment. Because that's critical, and that's money that's on the table oftentimes you cannot let sit there. You have to address it now, not a week from now, because that's the case that you have to be dealing with. So that's what you should be doing in the first 48 hours after you've lost your job, whether it's because you're fired, terminated, permanently laid off. You need to be dealing with these things first, and once that's been started and you've started the process rolling forward, then you can deal with the other things. You can go back to that sheet of paper, go to your list, and start hammering those out. But until then, hold off on them at least for 48 hours and get the stuff with your previous employment dealt with promptly. Thank you.